out my sister made out with our cousin. So I'm Dominican. We have like a very, very big family. So every year for the month of December, we have all of our family gather up in my small town. And before anyone says anything, she is the R word. She doesn't like people my color, so that's why I don't care. So when my family comes over, we usually kind of like divide everyone into like all of the houses. And this time it was his turn to stay over our house. So what I did was that I gave up my bed and I'm like, okay, so you can stay in my bed and I'll just like sleep in the living room or something. It wasn't my first time sleeping in the living room. So whatever, he stays over, and the night over like our big dinner, they both go to my bedroom. I'm like, oh, they must be like, you know, playing around or doing something. Let me go check it out. So when I try to open the door's like locked, which is weird, you know, because again, we're like cousins, like, why are you guys locking the door? So I'm like knocking on the door very loud. So she like opens the door and she's like, why are you being so loud? Like she was mad like I was interrupting them. And I'm like, why are you guys locking the door? Like that's so weird. And mind you, I'm like 15 and she's like 2 years younger than me. So she immediately starts acting like very suspicious. Like, what would we be doing? Like, stop joking around, blah, blah, blah. We forgot. It's just a habit that I lock the door. And I'm like, okay, like, relax. So I like walk in and I'm like, so what are you guys doing? Like, don't leave me outside with all of these like older people, you know, like joking around because we're cousins. And like neither of them say anything, so I'm like immediately suspicious. Immediately. So fast forward, we're at our uncle's house because he has a bigger backyard than us. So that's where we normally, you know, gather and put all the tables and whatever. And you know when you know when someone's flirting. So they're kind of like flirting. Dinner is over and everyone's just like hanging out, drinking, making jokes, Dominican Republic style. So he's like, oh, I want to go to bed. And she's like, oh, me too. I'm going to go with you. So I wait like 5 minutes after they left and I asked my mom's husband for the key to our house because they'd taken my mom's key. But I'm smarter than them. Instead of going through the front door, I went through the back door of our house. Let me tell you something. I have never been so quiet in my life because I wanted to bust them so bad. Anyways, a long story short, I caught them right in our living room making out, and I want to say doing the dirty because that is nasty. And honey, the woman was too stunned to speak. Anyways, I would have never probably said anything if she didn't say to me, no one's going to believe you. But the thing is that everyone's going to believe me because they left together the family reunion. So I ended up telling my mom and his mom, which they're cousins. He was never allowed back over, and in their defense, they are only second cousins. They're not first cousins, so it's not as bad. And it was only kissing. It was nothing else. I'm not sure what they were trying to do there, but let me know in the comments what you think.
Okay, I haven't done a story time in a while. So I'm on my way from bringing back my daughter from school. And we stop at the stoplight. And you know what I hate? I hate when you're at a stoplight and you could feel people staring at you, but you're not trying to be awkward and like look back so they don't think you're like staring at them. Well, anyways, I feel this presence of somebody look at me. So I finally turn to the side to see. And then it's this older man. Let me describe him to you. White shirt, construction pants, ashy elbows. Man's need lotion like yesterday. Man's elbows look like they're the reason this recession started. And he's just there staring at me down like, I'm like, sir, we're in the middle of the street. Like, Do these men really think that I'm gonna just stare back and be like, oh my God, it's the love of my life? Especially when you don't put lotion on your freaking elbows? My dude, you have a lot more to worry about, okay? Gray hairs, bald spots, arthritis, osteoporosis. You do not need to be trying to pick up women at red stoplights. Second of all, this man is way older than me, okay? He probably has a wife, kids, grandkids. I literally meme him like, hello? We're not connecting, sir. Mans keeps staring at me the whole time. I feel like this light is taking 300 hours to like turn green. Well, anyways, once the light turns green, I zoom off. Man's just trying to catch up to me. I started clenching my bag, if you know what I mean, just in case, because you never know. I think he thinks this is a game because he's trying to smile at me as he's trying to catch up to me. Sir, please use the same energy and rush your way to get some Vaseline on them elbows. So I was like, all right, let me put the turbo into good use. He can't keep up with me the same way I'm sure the kneecaps can't keep up with him. Probably has to rub Big Spaporu every night just so he could walk like, bleh. Somebody come get their dad.
Okay, story time of when I secretly dated my boss at a pizza place. One thing about me, I've had many random jobs in my lifetime, and I've managed to date 3 bosses that I've had at 3 different jobs. And I know what you're thinking, there's definitely something psychological going on behind that, and you're definitely right. And I should definitely Google it, but it doesn't really affect my day-to-day, so whatever, I guess. My first ever job was at a pizza place, and I was in love with my boss. He was so hot, but I was 17. We didn't date when I was 17, okay? He waited until I was 18 like a gentleman. Anyways, I was in high school, and I would show up to math class every day after my shifts, and I would like tell the stories from the night before and be like, does my boss like me? Yes or no? And then eventually my math teacher called me over to his desk after class, and he was like, Becca, you have to quit your job. You need to tell your parents that your manager is flirting with you. And I was like, oh my God. So he is flirting with me. Obviously, I didn't quit my job. And then when I finally turned 18, by the way, let's call him Adam. He was like 26 or 27 and I was 18. So when I finally turned 18, I started like Googling, what are jokes that 26-year-olds laugh at? And I started like texting them to him, and we immediately started dating. And that's when I realized it probably shouldn't have been that easy, but somehow it was that easy. So it was like fun and hot because we were the only 2 people that knew, but there were no other girls that worked there because it was a pizza place in Ohio. So I like begged him to hire one of my friends. Let's call her Tina. That's not her name. I just don't really like the name Tina. That's when work got really fun because I had a friend and my secret boyfriend working there with me. But after our shifts, he would always gossip about Tina and like say how annoying she was that shift. And I was like, obviously they're gonna hook up. I was like, okay, he's like 30 or something. He can control himself. And she's another 18-year-old, so there's nothing to worry about. Because I was mature for my age. At least that's what he'd say to me. But my sister was the same age as Adam. They were both like 27, and I went to breakfast with her, and I finally broke the news that I was dating a guy that she knew who was her age. And she was like, bleh. Sorry, I just can't imagine dating someone that's 18 at this age. And that's when I was like, oh my God, I have to break up with him. Talking to my sister started making me feel guilty because I felt like I was holding this guy back. For me, 27 was like 58, you know what I mean? Like I was like, you are ready to retire basically. Like what if you want kids and marriage? I can't do that. I'm like 12. So I broke up with him so that he could have like a normal relationship with a normal girlfriend who was his age. And 5 days later, he posted a picture of Tina and they started dating. And they just got married last spring. And now they're having a kid together. But yeah, he was nice. He was just really into 18-year-olds, I guess. So yeah.